What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Word on the Street from Out of the Box. This is for 2 to 10 players, taking about 20 to 30 minutes to play, and it's for ages 12 plus. And Word on the Street is a popular party word game in which you are going to be trying to take these nice, thick, sturdy letters and pull them over to your side of the road by making words that use those letters based on specific categories. It's light, it's simple, it's popular, it's even spawned a junior version of the game. But is it still good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Word on the Street. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rulebook. It's one big page, double-sided, full color. It's very well done. It should have you up and running in no time at all. Also, incredibly simple game, so I can teach you how to play right now. So we're going to go over the components, and then we'll get into the gameplay. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to pull 8 words over to your side of the road. If you can do that, then you will win the game. In order to pull those letters over, you need to use words based on specific categories that have those letters containing them. So component-wise, we got this trifold board here. It's nice and long. It depicts 2 highways, and there's letters in the middle, and you're trying to pull the letters over. The letters themselves are really thick, and they're like made out of this weird stone. Very, very nice components on the letters. They're fantastic. They go from A to Z, but they skip all of the vowels except for Y. So there's no E, there's no I, there's no O, and it goes all the way down here to WY, which you can't see because of camera angle. Next, you're going to have a little timer, which is going to tell you how long you have to think of your word with your team, because you are going to split it up into 2 teams in this game. Last but not least, we have this nice sturdy plastic container, which is going to hold all of the cards that you'll be utilizing in the game. There's lots of cards in this game. There's even a little divider card in the middle here, which is nice, which will divide the cards that you have and haven't played with, and you can use the front or the back. So there is plenty of cards in this game. So, how does the game work? Let's just start it up, and I'll show you exactly how it works. So first you decide which team is going to go first. They're going to put the same timer right here, and then they are going to get their question. A key on a computer keyboard. So now you're just trying to think of the best possible one that is going to get you, letters. So enter, tab, I'm trying to think. Let's just say we ended up going with delete. Oh, delete, yeah. So we would go delete. So let's say the time ran out. We say, all right, we're going to do delete. How this works is we move the D, E, L, E, T, E. So this isn't that good of a word because we only moved 3. Obviously, if there was an E on here, that'd be fantastic, but unfortunately, there's not. And so now the timer is going to pass over to the other side. Let's just say they ended up saying money. So M-O-N-E-Y. You can't see the Y, but I swear I moved the Y. Trust me. So now it comes back to us. And once again, now we're looking. We got D, we got L, we got T. So we would love to have a word that has 2 T's in it, because if we could do that, then we would lock down the T. Because once something goes all the way over to your side, that's a point for you. And no one can ever move the T after that. So let's see if we can do it. Let's just try it out. So, to do something with a string or a rope. Ooh, okay. Something with a string or a rope. So the way I like to play is I like to get an answer first and foremost. Just think of any answer that makes sense and then try to improve upon that answer. So something with a string or rope, we will go with a boat. A boat is going to have a rope on it. So then we might go with a fishing pole. That's 2 words, though. We couldn't do that. Oh, man, I'm really bad at this game right now. So we'll just go with... running out of time. We'll go with rope. It's a pretty poor answer, so we would get R-O-P-E. But what it's eventually going to happen is people are going to pull letters over to their side. Once that happens, you stop doing anything when you use those letters. So, for instance, if our word was woman, we would get to move the W, we would get to move, and that would be it, because the M and the N are already over here. Anywho, whoever is the first team to get to 8 points will be the winner of Word on the Street. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game's played. Alrighty then, Word on the Street from Out of the Box. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. It's 2 to 10 players, which is great, but once you go past 2 players, it does become a team game. And I do like the team aspect of the game. Now, one interesting thing is, this says 2 to 10 players, and the junior version of the game says 2 to 8 players. And I played it once with more than 8 players, and I do think that you shouldn't go over 8 players. Because with 8 players, you have 4 people on a team, there's plenty of words to bounce around, and honestly, I liked it best at, like, say, 6 players or 4 players. But yeah, so 10 players is going to be a little bit of a stretch, but you can easily do it, and it still is an enjoyable game. It's just something I wanted to mention, that if you go over 2 players, you're playing a team version of the game, which some people do not like. Another con that I have with this game is that I like the Word on the Street Junior a little bit better because it has all the letters. This one does not have all the letters. Now, I understand why they did that. It makes the game slightly more difficult knowing that you're not going to score, the E's and the A's and the I's and the O's and the U's, which are the most common letters that you're going to be using. But I still did like it better, and it sped up the game a little bit because those were ones that were easier to attain. So that's a your mileage may vary kind of thing. Another con that I have with this game is that obviously if you're not in the market for a light, simple word party game, this one is not going to be for you. And any other cons that I have with the game? Some of the categories can be pretty difficult. And if you have someone in your group who's doesn't know any of those categories, for instance, like I just played this a couple nights ago, and it was religious characters, and we were like, this one's on you, and he's like, no, this one's on you, and I was like, oh shoot, I have no idea. But that's kind of where I like the team aspect of the game, because maybe I'll come up with a better word when it pertains to like sports, and he would come up with a better word when it came to computers, because that was his area of expertise. But it is something that I did want to mention, where from time to time cards will come up and be like, I have no clue whatsoever. Another con that I have in this game, which is actually a pro, it's somewhere in the middle, is that you need to know going into this game that it gets more complex as you continue to play the game. As letters slowly trickle off the board, the game becomes much more difficult. And I personally like that, but I have seen people who were not the biggest fan of that. But moving on to the pros, Word on the Street still does hold up. It is still a fantastic, lightweight word party game that I can recommend if you're in the mood for a party game that splits people up and goes on 2 teams. Now, that being said, I will say that there is downtime in between turns, and I have this con with both Word on the Street and Word on the Street Junior, and with both games, I play a variant where it's just that everybody gets the same card, and then you quietly whisper to your teammates, and then either you write down your answer or you just say your answer at the exact same time, and then you pass the timer back and forth, so that who's first player really can make a big deal in that particular instance. I like that variant a lot, and I always will play with that variant. But that being said, the original variant is not bad as well. The original version of the game, I should say. So what I like about Word on the Streets, first and foremost, it's easy to learn, it's easy to teach. Pretty much everybody can spell for the most part, so that also is a pro. And also, what I really love about this game, though, and I mentioned it in the cons, but it's more so a pro for me, is that the game gets progressively more difficult as you go, which is really stinking cool because, you start off and it's just like, all right, I want long words. That's what I want. I want long words that don't have that many vowels, But then, as you progressively go through the game, it's like, whoa, I need to use this letter and this letter and this letter, ideally. So I need to see if I can make a V and a G and a K into a specific word. Even if that's only like a 5-letter word, if I can get, 2 of those letters into there, that's a successful turn for me. And I like that aspect. I like how it switches midpoint through the game to being just a game about simply coming up with long words without much vowels to being something completely different, and I like that an awful lot. I've had this game go fall flat very, very few times. So, in the end, here's what I think. Does the game still hold up? Yes, absolutely. It's still a great, light party game if you don't mind splitting up into 2 teams. Now, the other question is, I own Word on the Street, and I own Word on the Street Junior. Do you need to have both? And that, for me, is a very difficult question to answer because I personally like the categories better on Word on the Street, especially if I'm playing with adults, which makes sense. But at the same time, I like Word on the Street Junior slightly better because it has all of the letters. It has the A, the E, the I, the O, the U, and the Y, all the vowels as well. But on the flip side, I also like Word on the Street better because it has these really nice, thick stone tiles, which are just... They look good, they feel good, they're completely unnecessary because they're on the board 99.9% of the time, but it's still, I want a junior version of the game, but with these tiles. But either way, do I think you need both on your shelf? No. And honestly, if I had to make a suggestion, I would recommend keeping Word on the Street Junior and getting rid of the original Word on the Street because both of them have good components. The components are good, it's just the components are better in this version of the game. And that being said, Word on the Street Junior still can be had a lot of fun with adults as well, even though the questions are going to be a little bit more difficult of Word on the Street. So maybe you can find a happy medium where you take all the cards out of the original Word on the Street and then mix them in with your copy of Word on the Street Junior, or keep them separate if you're playing with kids, I guess. But in the end, I don't think you need both versions of the game. but I like having both versions of the game. But pretty much, I'm going to keep both versions of the games now, but eventually, as I get more and more games, I do foresee myself getting rid of Word on the Street first before I get rid of Word on the Street Junior. But either way, Word on the Street, if you're looking at this as a new party game for you, I can recommend this one. It is a fun word game. It makes words fun, which is definitely a difficult task to do. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? Not me. Was it you? Couldn't be. Then who? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.